Hello and welcome, friends. I have been meaning to do more book reviews lately. So one that I really liked, and I just finished it. It's Many Lives, Many Masters. It's backwards, but it's by a psychiatrist. Um, and whenever I read books, if it's fiction, nonfiction, I always say take it at face value. Um, and just kind of take from it what you will. So this book is about a psychiatrist who started using hypnotherapy and interacted with one of his patients for past life regressions. And through these kind of stories and transcripts of that experience, there's a lot of kind of wisdom and questions answered about, well, what's our purpose here on Earth? What happens when we die? Um, have we lived here before? There's some notable items like the idea of reincarnation, how many religions and kind of ancient beliefs focus on ideas of reincarnation, and how it actually was a big part of the Christian Bible, but was edited out, I believe, by King James, um, to say, oh no, we don't want reincarnation because that would give our followers too much power, or this understanding that they'll come back and have a second chance um, here in this earthly plane. But I always look at any of these books, if it's mysticism, magic, psychology, fiction, nonfiction, I just look at it and say, okay, well, what's the story they're trying to tell? Why are they trying to tell it? And what kind of wisdom can I take from it? But this one is definitely a book that's worth reading. It's a short read. I actually read like half of it, and then I listened to the audiobook on Scribed. Um, but I think there's some kind of revelations in here about just like reincarnation in general, therapy, healing current life traumas or maybe past life traumas, or sort of uncovering some of those friction points or prickly points in our psyche and subconscious. Um, and for me, it also circles back to when I was younger. I was like hardcore science, hardcore facts, traditional medicine. And so I was always like, oh, well, there's no clinical evidence for this thing, or, well, the science and the studies, which we know some of them have been rigged, and there's undue influences there. But this was, 20 years ago. Well, the science says this, and we weren't looking at some of the subjective information or the case studies, or later on there were physicians, psychiatrists, and actual prominent scientists who started doing studies on these things and quantified them and put their research out there. So I think for me, and you might find this too, is okay, we've got some of these studies now, and we can actually look at them and extrapolate some information and wisdom on things that people might say, oh, that's hocus pocus, or pseudoscience, or parapsychology. Now, even in physics, we're finding more and more that this stuff is related and there's some truth. So definitely pick this one up. It's a really kind of a short read, and it's a lot of like transcripts and excerpts um, from the psychiatrist Brian Weiss. Um, just a really good read. Check it out and let me know what you think.